You think your lawyer is expensive? Try being a 16th century rat with a security detail. From pigs in pants to roosters on trial for laying eggs, history's legal system was basically a fever dream. Buckle up, here are 10 animals that actually had their day in court. Welcome to France, 1266, a time when the plague was looming, the wine was cheap, and the legal system was obsessed with bacon, specifically one pig from Fontenay-aux-Roses. This wasn't just a barnyard animal, this was a felon. The charge? Murder. The pig had attacked a child. Now, in 2026, we'd call animal control. In 1266, they called a lawyer, because nothing says civilized like giving a hog a fair trial. Imagine the scene: a judge in full robes, a prosecutor presenting evidence, and a pig just staring blankly, probably wondering when lunch was coming. The jury didn't take long. The verdict? Death by fire. They sentenced the pig to be burned alive at the stake. No plea bargain, no parole, just history's first recorded execution of a farm animal. I guess you could say justice was served. Well done.
Switzerland, 1474. Fresh mountain air, great chocolate, and the most dangerous criminal in the city of Basel. A rooster with a major identity crisis. Most roosters wake you up at 5 a.m. This guy, he decided to lay an egg. Now today, we'd call that a biological miracle. In 1474, they called it a satanic conspiracy. The city went into a full-blown panic. The charge? Sorcery. The town was convinced this egg was meant to hatch a cockatrice, a mythical monster that kills with a single glance. The trial was intense. The defense argued the egg was unintentional, but the judge wasn't having it. The verdict? Guilty of witchcraft. The rooster was sentenced to be burned at the stake along with his evil egg. No final meal, no last cluck, just a very confusing day for a very confused bird. Indiana, the 1920s. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing. People were hiding booze, dancing the Charleston, and one circus star was about to become a convicted felon for a very human habit. Meet our rebel without a cause. During a live act, this chimpanzee decided to get comfortable. He pulled out a cigarette, struck a match, and lit up right in front of the crowd. Total cool guy move, right? Wrong. The local police were not amused. In a move that could only happen in 1920s Indiana, the chimp was actually charged with violating local no-smoking ordinances. He wasn't just bad for the circus, he was a criminal. Imagine being the cop having to read a chimp his Miranda rights. He was convicted, a primate with a permanent rap sheet. In an era of mobsters and bootleggers, the law decided to crack down on the one guy who paid for his habits in bananas. I guess even in the circus, if you can't do the time, don't do the nicotine. 1916, Irwin, Tennessee. Meet Mary, a 5-ton circus elephant who was about to learn that in the early 20th century, the American legal system didn't care if you had a trunk. Mary's crime? Killing a handler who, to be fair, had zero experience and had reportedly poked her with a hook. Today, we'd blame the circus. In 1916, the town demanded justice for Mary, and they didn't mean a bigger cage. They couldn't find a gun big enough, so they went industrial. They brought in a 100-ton railroad crane. Yes, you heard that right, a public execution for a 5-ton mammal. It was the only time in history a construction vehicle was used as a hangman. Over 2,500 people showed up to watch. No trial, no jury, just a crane and a heavy-duty chain. Mary became the only elephant in history to be legally hanged. It's a dark reminder that back then, if you broke the law, jumbo problems required jumbo solutions. France, 1522. A local province is facing a crisis, not a war, not a famine, but a lawsuit against a colony of rats. The charge? Felony barley eating. Enter Bartholomew Chassenet, the world's first rat attorney. Most people would have just used a cat, but Chassenet, he took the case to the high court. When his clients failed to show up for their hearing, he didn't apologize. He made an excuse. He told the judge his clients wanted to be there, but the journey was too dangerous. Why? Because the local cats were waiting to assassinate them on the way to court. He argued that the law must guarantee safe passage for all defendants. The judge, probably questioning his entire career, actually agreed. Since the town couldn't guarantee the rats wouldn't be eaten on their way to testify, the case was dismissed. The rats walked free, or scurried free. I guess you could say Chassenay really knew how to smell a rat in the legal system. England, the 18th century. The Napoleonic Wars are raging and paranoia is at an all-time high. If you think modern airport security is strict, wait until you hear about the town of Hartlepool. A French warship crashes off the coast. The only survivor? The ship's mascot, a monkey dressed in a tiny military uniform. Now, the locals of Hartlepool had a slight problem. They had never seen a monkey before, but more importantly, they had never seen a Frenchman. So, naturally, they did what any rational citizens would do. They interrogated it. The monkey, obviously, just shrieked and chattered back. The locals nodded solemnly and basically agreed, "Yep, that definitely sounds like French to me." They held a trial right there on the beach, convicted the poor primate of espionage, and hanged it as a French spy. Imagine being Napoleon and getting that intelligence report. To this day, the town's soccer mascot is a monkey. I guess that's one way to say, my bad. Meet the world's most successful thief. In 2008, a bear in Macedonia was sued for stealing honey. Not just a little bit, like a lot of honey. The beekeeper was so mad he actually took the bear to court. Imagine the trial. The judge is serious, the lawyer is arguing, and the defendant? Well, he didn't show up because he's a bear. But the plot twist? The bear won. Well, technically. See, the bear was a protected species. You can't put a protected bear in jail. So the judge found the bear guilty but ordered the government to pay the fine. The bear got the honey and the taxpayers got the bill. Final score? Bear 1, government 0. If only we could all pay our bills by being protected species. I guess crime does pay if you're fluffy enough. Switzerland, 1906. While the rest of the world was inventing airplanes, the Swiss legal system was busy prosecuting a dog. But this wasn't for chasing mailmen. This was for armed robbery and homicide. A group of burglars decided to bring their dog along for a heist. Things went south, a man was killed, and the police rounded up the whole gang, including the dog. The court didn't see a pet. They saw an accomplice who knew too much. During the trial, the dog stayed silent. No barking, no snitching, total professional. But the judge wasn't impressed by his loyalty. He sentenced the 3 men to prison and sentenced the dog to death. Because apparently, in 1906, justice didn't care if you were the one holding the gun or just the one holding the leash. He became one of the last animals in history to be legally executed. A true ride or die who unfortunately had to die. I guess you could say his criminal career ended with a real rough sentence. France, 1379. Usually, a group of pigs is called a herd. In the town of Saint Marcel, they were called a mob. This isn't just a story about one bad apple. It's about a full-scale porcine riot. A single sow attacked a child, but her friends didn't just watch. 2 entire herds of pigs joined in, creating a scene so chaotic the law got involved. The court didn't just arrest the leader, they charged the whole squad with inciting a riot. It was the Nuremberg trials, but with more oinking. Dozens of pigs were sentenced to death. But then, a plot twist. The Duke of Burgundy himself stepped in. He looked at the massive group of criminal pigs and decided that executing the whole herd was a bit much. He issued a royal pardon for the accomplices. The leader was executed, but the mob walked free. I guess even in the 14th century, it pays to have friends in high places and a very confused duke. And that is how you start a riot and live to squeal about it. So, which of these animal criminals actually deserved their day in court? Drop a comment and let us know. Hit that subscribe button for more unbelievable stories from the wild side of history.